Hey guys, welcome back to Marriages Restored in Faith. My name is Ray.
Hi guys, my name is Dora. It is Monday, March 10th, 2025. Already 10 days in March.
It's a nice day outside.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no wind. It's standing still. This is the time that we should be outside doing yard work already.
I did.
Yes, Dora did start. Well, it's basically starting to clean up that I started, didn't finish.
Ray made a mess.
That was a tree that fell on our house. If you remember us talking about it, the neighbor's tree actually fell on top of our house, parked by the garage. So it did do some damage on the roof. We're still working on that to see how we're going to get that fixed. You know how insurances are.
Yes.
You pay for insurance and then you're back and forth and they're saying, it's going to cost you this much. But we're only going to pay this much. So then you're back and forth. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. And as you see the title, Are Foods Giving Us Cancer? And I should have thought about it and should have just put Are Foods Making Us Sick? Because it is both. It is both from both areas. Let me go ahead and say up front, me and Dora, myself and Dora, we are not doctors.
That's right.
We don't work in the medical field.
No.
So we're not here to give you advice on what to do. You have to do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
What we are going to share with you is approximately 14 videos from doctors discussing what is going on with our food supply, our food system, what has been going on for years. A lot of us are actually waking up and actually seeing what is happening. Some of us are still not awake. Some of us refuse to wake up. And some of us are in denial of believing that people could actually be that evil to do that to the system. In fact, I was listening to a video earlier where they were discussing on how our meat products, our fish products, our fruits, they are actually, our fruits, or most of our fruits, and I forgot the percentage, but it was very high percentage, are grown out of this country. And then they're brought to this country. Our meats are from here and our fish is from here, but then it gets shipped to another country. So just think about that. Why is it being shipped to another country and brought back to our country? These are questions and legitimate questions that we should be asking.
Yes.
Why are we shipping our meat overseas and then bringing it back? What is being done to it that we won't do it to it here? Or what's the issue with that?
Right.
So let me show you this first video and then we'll get to showing all the other videos. If you can give me number 7. And again, I was discussing this earlier with my child and I said, she started counting. I said, be careful by putting your fingers out because you don't know what's going to happen. So you're going to see what happens to this video. And I guess we're already slow or frozen, or
No.
Jewel's trying to read which number is what, or she forgot what number. She might have got confused. I should have wrote it in Spanish for her. Maybe she would have done better there. So here we go. We're not going to put no, because there's music or screaming or cussing or something. I don't remember what it is. But
I think it's music and laughter at the same time.
oh, yes. But as you see, instant karma, what they call, I don't believe in karma, but this is what they say, instant karma.
Yes.
End up flipping people off trying to think it's funny, and all of a sudden, whoa, your finger was sticking out. And I'm sure that dude got yelled afterwards because he's the one that slammed the door. And it wasn't light slam. It was an actual slam. See, look at that.
Yes.
So, yep. So, don't stick your fingers out there where they can get caught.
Yes.
I'm sure she learned her lesson. So, here we are. Let's get straight to it so you can see. If you can give me number 4. Yeah, don't worry about these numbers. These are just my notes because you're seeing.
I'm like, why is there numbers over there?
I just went through them real quick and I wanted to do them in a specific order so you can kind of see things. Just remember, as you're seeing this of what is happening, what they're discussing, there's also what we discussed, which is what do you call it? Detox.
Oh, yes, detox.
Detox. That is something that we all have to do. We'll go ahead and start playing these, and you'll get the idea.
Everything is compounding exponentially. You've got a 99 million person study. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it showed a 6.91 times risk in pericarditis. But what we're headed into is a potential genocide of the human race. I don't think there's any way around it.
It's what I said. It's a lie, Ochirin. We have been lied to. Everyone. No? So it's very easy to lie to somebody, but it's very difficult to convince somebody that he's been lied to.
That was Mark Twain that said it's easier to fool someone than to convince someone they've been fooled.
You admit you've been stupid, and no one wants to do that. And some people are even so stubborn that they prefer to die before to admit that. That's life. I think we have to do something. This is basically what I think my interpretation is, that you have to say, hey, we have to help the other people to make sense to be here for our own life, to leave a legacy and create a better world. And that's it.
That's beautiful. Now we're everything.
The reason I wanted to play this first is because, did you hear exactly what he said? It's hard for us to admit that we were fooled. Mm-hmm. It's hard for us to admit that we were wrong. Like he said, stupid. It's hard for people to admit that they were stupid in a certain aspect, in a certain way, that they were fooled, that they've been lied to. That is the hardest part. For any of us to admit, hey, we are just waking up and we are figuring things out. Now we are seeing all the lies. That's the hardest thing to do. The easiest thing to do is put your head in the sand and deny everything and deny anything as bad as happening. That's the easiest thing to do.
Right.
The easiest thing to do is just to be quiet and not warn people of what is happening. That's the easiest thing. Why? Because now you don't have to confront anybody that confronts you. You don't have to have a dialogue. You don't have to argue with people. You don't have to have a discussion. I would say discussion, but in this time frame, it's a lot of arguments because people don't want to hear the truth anymore.
Yes.
There's still people right now believing that they're not spraying us like bugs, and yet they are.
Every day.
There's a video out there. We actually shared you that video. Yeah, that's every day. Mm-hmm. We shared that video of the vehicle. But there's another video out there where this person has animals outside, and they have a water trial where there's water for the animals. Mm-hmm. And in there, it's full of that fungus that was inside the car. It's on the top layer of the water. And this lady, I would think you would have some sense of everything that's going on. She's just with her hands mixing it and showing you and picking it up, and it's all nasty on her hand. I would think you would put some gloves on.
Yes.
And in the comments you read it, and somebody's saying, put some gloves on, lady. Mm-hmm. These are the times that we're living in, that they are doing this stuff. And you must say, people can't be that evil. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Go back to the Bible, and if you go back and you start reading it, and you're going to see how evil and demonic the demonic beings were in order to kill the race. Just think of the angels that came down, the fallen angels came down to get with women and created giants. That's another thing that I'm not going to go on a rabbit trail. Yeah, I'm going to stick to it. So if you can give me number 3, again, we're going to get deep in this, and you're going to hear from some doctors. Some of these doctors are going to be discussing this to show you that they are awake now, that they are seeing what's happening.
A role because it always plays a role, because it always impacts the way the body, your own immune system, can deal with and defend itself against the offending agent, even if that agent is not dietary induced. So yes, even let's say healing after a car accident, your brain injury, and recovery for the bones to reheal after they're set, nutrition still plays a role in almost everything. In most cases, more than 95% of the medical problems that befall Americans are dietary induced problems. And those things like high blood pressure and headaches and asthma and autoimmune conditions, there's hundreds of autoimmune conditions that people have, and the host of the majority of cancers, including melanoma and skin cancer, is still primarily a diet induced problem because you don't have a high nutrient density in your tissues and you can't defend itself against radiation damage from the sun. So we're still talking about the fact that nutrition impacts even illnesses you wouldn't normally think of being of nutritional origin.
I'm still trying to find that video of that doctor. It might have been already deleted. That doctor discussing and saying, if you can give me number 10, that doctor discussing and saying that if you want to be healthy and have a long life, stay out of the hospitals. That's coming from a doctor. Think about that. See, we all have a responsibility to start changing our diets, even though it is difficult. Look at me. I'm here talking to you about this, and I'm drinking Coke. I'm serious. We're discussing this, and I'm drinking Coke.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what, I read the labels of bioengineering food, and I stay away from all that. So we're going to play this video. This is a short one, so you can hear this one and see what she says. And then she's got a longer video that I'll show you here in a second.
We are offered in America. Every single prescription drug that we are offered in America has a side effect. So then you've got to look at that and decide the risk and the pros and the cons, and if you want to decide to take that. The problem is that we prescribe somebody something, has a certain side effect, then we say, oh, well, guess what? We have another drug for that side effect, and then you're going to need another drug for that side effect. And it's this never-ending treadmill of pharmaceutical intervention that we are putting people on, as young as now children, because Lexapro, which is an antidepressant, was just approved for kids as young as 7. They're testing GLP-1s, weight loss drugs like Ozempic on kids as young as 6. So instead of looking at the problem, what are we feeding kids? What could be causing things like anxiety and depression? Are they getting outside? What foods are they eating? We know that there's a gut-brain connection, that what is going on in your gut is affecting how you're feeling in your brain. Instead of asking any of these questions, which would be so much easier to fix, we're saying, let's medicalize this child at a younger age.
It is so true.
Yes.
See, they say it's side effects, but it's actually poison. Mm-hmm. It's poisonous effects, but they don't want to call it poison effects because then you'll be like, wait a minute, what's happening? I don't want that because it's poisoning my body. So they call it side effects. And then for that side effects, they have to give you another medication to minimize that side effect or combat that side effect. Mm-hmm. And then they have to give you something else for that one. And we know some of our family members, they take medication from morning, the time they wake up, till nighttime when they go to bed. Mm-hmm. And what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to look at other alternatives. And what are the other alternatives? Change our diet.
Yes, that's a huge, huge thing that everyone can do.
Detox.
Mm-hmm.
Detox is the biggest one that every person has to do at the very beginning, is to detox your body from parasites. And we say, oh, I don't have parasites. Well, you will be surprised.
Yes.
And we're gonna show you some videos of these doctors talking about parasites. If you can give me number 2, and these are, in fact, this female doctor that we're going to show you now is being labeled as false information doctor. You can just Google her name, and the first thing that comes out is all the attacks from the news media saying that she's giving false information. Yeah, this doctor here. Okay.
And seeing them telling us things that are completely wrong over and over and over again, you finally wake up and realize this is not by accident. This is a long-term calculated plan to keep us sick for some reason and to kill us prematurely. So that's my big picture on this, on what's going on. And I'm actually very hopeful, because I think once you recognize the matrix, you can step out of it. We need to get back to root causes instead of, think about what we do. We spend so many billions of dollars every year in trying to make the precise diagnosis to go along with those 70,000 codes. But what if we took a step out of that whole idea and we said, wait a minute, what are the things that we know cause disease? I mean, disease means dis-ease. It doesn't imply that there's a little infectious particle that goes out from me to you to make us sick. That's the lie that enables them to do what I call disease whack-a-mole, where they can just create a disease from thin air and get you afraid and then tell you to go out and get a vaccine. After 45 years in medicine and seeing them telling us.
You get that? And she has quite a bit of videos exposing what is going on in the industry. I'm telling you, it's those that we really have to wake up. And now you talk about, I believe you're going to hear this video where she discusses that now from childbirth, from the time the child is born to the age of 18, they'll have 70 jabs.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Compared to when Dora and I were growing up, especially Dora, in that time frame, there's probably one jab at that time from birth to 18.
Yeah, okay.
Because they were just making the needles at that
They
time.
were just making the needles? Oh, wow. He took me way back, didn't he?
So if you give me number 11, I just have to go there, huh? So those are things that we have to look into. Why are we, and even for animals or dogs, that we hear that they want all these jabs into the dog? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Is it possible that they're able to pass something else on to their owner? And you're going to say, oh, no, let's go on a bit further. You'll see here in a second. Just listen to this one.
Has changed over the last 100 years. At the time, children started to become paralyzed. This was not something that they had ever seen in mass like that. Rutland, Vermont, 1890.
Okay. If y'all can give us a thumbs up, and if you can share this video, because of algorithms, we're trying to get this information out to people so people can see it. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, give us a thumbs up and share this video, because this is valuable information for people to see for themselves.
Yes.
Is listed as the first epidemic of polio. You can look through that history and it sort of seems to hold up. Yes, there were children that got paralyzed and there were some deaths, but it doesn't take much reading to start to see some other odd factors play into it, such as there were animals that were getting paralyzed. There were animals that were dying. Animals becoming paralyzed is not something polio can do. And in fact, polio can only paralyze a very specific animal, which is old world monkeys. We know this now, they didn't know it at the time. Start going backwards in time. I go back 1 year, 1893, Boston has its biggest outbreak of polio. So then you go back to 1892, and I started finding out a story about an invasive species of moth called the gypsy moth that had been brought into New England, had been destroying everything in its path, and they were powerless to stop it. So 1892 was the year they finally figured out a new pesticide called lead arsenate. And they were able to combine these two ingredients together, lead and arsenic, in such a way that it created a great pesticide and it couldn't easily be washed off. It was like a miracle pesticide. It was used everywhere. It was absolute war to save the great hardwoods of New England before the gypsy moth destroyed everything. 1893, Boston, the place where the pesticide was invented, 26 cases of polio. Never seen it before. Why did this happen? 1894, a year later, Rutland, Vermont records the first case of epidemic polio, 126 people. Horses, chickens, there are many viruses and bacteria in the world that can paralyze. The question is, why were animals being paralyzed? Why were children having seizures and convulsions? This is not a hallmark sign of a polio infection. This is a hallmark sign of pesticide exposure. Why did children start becoming paralyzed? The very year, the very location, the very quadrant of the country where this new pesticide was invented.
This lead arsenate was super sticky. It was on the fruit that people ate, kids ate.
I can't express to you enough how liberally this pesticide was sprayed. There was zero concern at the time for toxicity. They had things called cattle dips, which were essentially man-made ditches where the cattle were literally run through these troughs to coat them in this stuff. And it couldn't be washed off. That's sort of a key component.
And that would eventually go through the cow's milk and into people as well. Did the people that were applying this, the farmers, did they stick with a prescriptive formula?
There was no regulation on this. They would go there and pick up a bottle of lead. They'd pick up a bottle of arsenic. They'd combine it based on what they heard at the local farmer's market. It was the wild, wild west.
So as this story progresses, we're spraying it more and more and more at higher and higher concentrations to kill these moths.
You can trace the spread of polio alongside the spread of the gypsy moth as it expanded from Boston into New England. The definition of this word has changed over.
So, okay, so if this went that far back, just think about it. If it went that far back, and they know, because I'm telling you, scientists study stuff because they enjoy the study of what happens to certain things. Why are they spraying us right now? Think about it.
Yeah.
Why are there so much spray, which is a daily base, and you can see it happening, and it doesn't happen just in one area. It's happening all over. Animals are getting sprayed. Insects are getting sprayed. People are getting sprayed. Our vehicles are sprayed. Everything that you see, because everything's coming down, the trees are getting sprayed, your fruits, your crops, vegetables, and so on. Think about it. What are they spraying?
Yeah, so it's like, everything that, that they've been spraying, things that they've been using up in the air, you're going to start seeing side effects of that, whether it's in our produce, our meats, that's why it's like, well, we haven't had this disease in such a long time, or, it was obliterated, in the year, 1960 something, but now it's back. Why do you think?
Or other things there besides that, or
why is there an outbreak of this, or an outbreak of that? Well, there you go.
Well, I mean, if you pay attention, you see a lot of people out there right now being sick, whether it's the cough, whether it's allergies, all kinds of things. And you're going to hear some of this stuff as well. You see that constantly happening now. And what is the solution that they want to give? Medicate. Let's give you as much medication as we possibly can. Instead of saying, wait a minute, should we change our diet? Should we detox? What is it that, should we look for natural foods? Honey is one of the ones to detox. Honey is an easy one that anybody can take. I forgot, it's honey and something else put together that is a detox. And I'm not trying to give you some advice right now because that's not what I'm going to do. So if you can give me number 8, and I think I'm going to stop it here after this one, and then we'll come back on Wednesday, and we'll do part 2 to show you more in depth of what is. I'm telling you, this is really happening, and people have to wise up. I know we've said that we have to raise our own vegetables or crops and so on, which we have to. Greenhouse, so you can protect your vegetables.
Yes, you have to try to think, of, how you can cover a bunch of your stuff, to where you're able to see, what's coming in, what's going out, what's affecting your plant. And that, in itself, a lot of people say, well, that just takes, extra work. Well, yes. And nobody said it was going to be easy, but we have to do what we can in order to be healthier and to eat healthier.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and play this one. Oh, there's no sound? Well, there's probably music or something to it, so that's why we take the sound off so we don't get flagged. But I thought of this, and I thought my youngest daughter, since she's got a dog. I said she can put her dog like that, rope it around, and let him be the protector. Because I tell you what, he won't be that quiet.
No. I was gonna say no. He will definitely be barking at everything and every car that passes by.
But if that dog doesn't look intimidating, doesn't it? You're not gonna get near. Like, yeah, you're about to get bit, and he looks strong. So I just thought I'd show you that woman is no fear. I don't have to look out because he's looking out for me.
He's looking out for me.
The only issue I have with that is she has him wrapped around. She gonna hit the floor. She gonna hit that concrete.
Yep. If he takes off, definitely. Yep. Yes.
So, guys, we'll go ahead and stop it there. We just want to give you a short one. On Wednesday, it'll be a little bit longer. We just want to give you an introduction of our foods, of what is going on. And it's not just cancer, it's sickness. It's getting people sick. And there's actually a video of there, and I think I have it. If not, I'll get that video for you on Wednesday. where the doctor literally talks about that it's parasites in the brain, that they have discovered that. Is it in one of the videos that we have right now?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
He actually discusses that there's parasites that they have discovered is parasites in cancer, parasites in the brain cancer. They've discovered it, that it's parasites. So how do you get rid of that? Detox.
That's right. That's right. Well, want to remind y'all to put on your armor. You can find that in Ephesians 6:10 through 18. Very important to know and to understand how to do that. Also, there is our other platforms there. If you would subscribe to them, also follow us and share our content as well. There is our email there if you would like to get a hold of us. We thank you guys for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on the next video.